Today we're looking at how to do squash stretch using the Blender grease pencil. This is Blender 5. I'm actually in version 5.0.1 and we're using grease pencil version 3. Now there's several ways we can do this. Let's first make sure that we've got all of our output set. We're at 24 frames per second. We need to output this as a video since it is an animation. I am going to want this on my desktop grease pencil folder, so I'll accept that, and we're going to go to output. Good. Accept. So that's set correctly. We're set to video. Make sure your encoding is to MPEG 4. My resolution output, my canvas, which is what is currently showing here, is currently set to 1920 by 1080. That's fine. If you wanted to do something lower resolution or higher resolution, of course you could adjust those. And our frame rate is set at 24 frames per second. Let's drop our total time for our squash stretch to 36 frames, which gives us approximately a second and a half of animation. The next thing that we need to do is go ahead and, next thing we need to do is make sure that we've got a ground. So I've got my output set correctly, MPEG, H264, that's all correct. And then let's jump down here to the data layer. Now currently I have a layer for lines, I have a layer for fills. I want to add a layer for the ground. So let's click plus and we'll rename it ground. Let's spell that correctly. Here we go. And we'll set that at the bottom of our list here. And I'm going to jump over here and click on the box and hold down. Click on line and let's draw, and you can see I've got a nice green color here. If you don't like that, whatever your color is selected here, you can change that real easily. I'm going to stay with the green. And let's draw a line across here. There we go. When you've got to your endpoint, hit the enter key on your keyboard, and that sets the line. We've now got a line inside of our view. Now, there's two ways that we can. I'm going to go over here to the lines layer because this is going to be on a different layer, and I can lock the ground layer so that I can't actually change it. Now remember, this is your canvas. This is what's going to be viewed by what will be rendered. Anything in the outside area here will not be rendered. So I need to keep everything inside of this view right here. Let's go to our draw mode, and I've got my color already selected. It's going to be solid stroke, and I can just simply draw a big circle to get started with my squash stretch. So let's do a simple circle. If you're not happy with the circle, or you're using a mouse or something like that, and it's not working for you, you're just very limited on your artistic skills, you can go with just simply a circle. Now I did have the wrong color selected, so let's undo that. And go back here and set this back to black. There. Now, when I draw my circle, I've got a nice clean circle inside the ready to go. If you're not completely happy with it, you could go down here up to sculpt mode, and there's a variety of different things you can smooth. If you're not happy with the drawn circle, you can strengthen it by dragging into the area. Here you can see I made that a little bit darker. We could grab a section of it with sculpting. I don't want to really grab right now. Pinch, etc. We'll play with more of the sculpt tools as we go along, but I want you to be aware that that is available to us. So I'm going to jump back here to my draw mode, and I've got my object. I'm set at frame 1, and I think the next thing we're ready to do is get the circle to start falling. So I was already on frame 1, which you should be as well. Make sure that your auto keying is already turned on. That simplifies life dramatically as you're going through this. Now for this one, I'm not going to use interpolate. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and shift my circle every single frame. But before I do that, I do want to make sure that onion skinning is turned on. So up here in the top right, you'll see a data, which is for the data for draw grease pencil, and make sure that your onion skinning is turned on. And that should be now all ready to go. If you would like a grid to help show what's happening, you can go over here to the viewport overlays, select the grid, and then go back here and make sure that that is turned on your canvas. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and let's jump over to, let's plan this out. So I'm going to go over here to frame 12, which is half a second in. And at frame 12, I want the sphere or the circle to be touching the ground and doing the squash stretch. So let's grab that. I'm going to go back here to edit mode, select my object, and then move it. So use the move. So using the blue axis or the Z axis, I'm going to just simply drag that straight down to right there. And we do want to shape it at this point. Now that we're at the bottom, let's go ahead and do our squash stretch. So let's go to scale, and I'm going to push this down a little bit. Now we need to keep our volume. That's an important concept of the squash stretch. So I need to move this out just a little bit, and then we can move that back down a little bit. Now, of course, you can use the hotkeys G and S to do this as well. There we go. And so now we've got 2 frames. Now, I didn't interpolate like I mentioned. I want to go ahead and put this in myself. So there's that frame. Everything up to frame 11 is that first frame, and then we've got 12, which 12 jumps back, does our squash. So let's jump back here and do our planning. So let's jump back to frame 6, and at frame 6, now you can see I'm getting some onion skinning. Those are my key frames. So at frame 6, I should be about halfway down, and we might have some stretching going on. So let's do a little bit of scaling. And for stretching, I'm going to pull this up and push it in a little bit. There we go. That's looking great. I'll go jump back to there. Now you can see we've got a new keyframe added to our line here. We could jump over here. Now let's just animate on the 2s here. So I'm going to go over here to frame 3, and this time it's again going to be halfway down. We might have just a little bit of squash stretch happening, so I'm just going to stretch that out a little bit, push that in just a smidge. Not as much as what I have happening at frame 6, but I've got a little bit happening there at frame 3. And then let's go back here to 8, and I'm going to move the sphere again, the circle, and go down just a little bit more. We're not going to go all the way down. We might start pulling it back into more of a rounded object. And then at 10, of course, it's not going to start squashing until it actually hits the ground. Well, maybe I want to keep, I'm going to go back here to frame 8. And I think I want to keep my stretch the way I had it, because it should go all the way down that way. So let's just go ahead and move it. Let's go over here to frame 10. And we're going to go down to there. That's looking great. And then 11, if we wanted to go ahead and go as far as 11, 11 should actually touch the ground and begin our change from a stretch into a squash. And pull that down just a little more. Pull it out just a smidge. It's actually getting closer back to its original shape. There we go. Now, if we wanted to, which why not, we could go ahead and see what it looks like right now. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Yeah. Okay, let's jump over here then. So it's going to start coming back out of the squash stretch on frame 13. I'm going to go ahead and over here to 14. I'm going to do this on the 2s. This is animating on the 2s, which means we do every other frame. And I'm going to start pulling this out of its squash stretch. So I'm going to pull it back up, push it in a little bit, and pull it up because it's rebounding off. Maybe up just a smidge. There we go. And I'm going to go over here to frame 16. And let's pull it up a little bit more. How far? It's not going to have as much energy coming back out of it. So, and I think I'm going to lessen the stretch a little bit. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to go over here to frame 18. And how far up should it go? Well, that's up to you, the animator. I'm going to go, it should be almost, oh, I'm on the wrong frame. Well, that's okay. That's easy to fix because I can grab my lines and move it over one back here to 18. There. Now 18 and 19 are the same frame now. But you can see I moved from 19 to 18 just by clicking on the keyframe and dragging it over. So I'm going to go over here to 20. And again, let's move this up a little bit. And I think we're at our full height at 20. So I'm going to go back to my original shape. Pull that down a little bit. Pull it out just a smidge. There we go. And then at 22, it's going to hang there. I'm going to go over to frame 23. It's going to hang there for a second, an extra frame, and then we can start the descent. Now it's not going to have a lot of energy coming back out of that. Let's go over here to 25. Bring it down a little bit more. We can go ahead and add our stretch to show some speed to this, but not as much as what we had before. 27. Again, move it down. It's going to have a little more speed now. 29. 29 is probably going to be touching, don't you think? And then 31. Well, yeah, 31. We can start our squash stretch again. Go, pull it out a little bit. There we go. And maybe we undo the squash stretch. Pull it back up, pull it. And there we go. And then 34. Just up a little bit. Let's round that. Make that a little more round. There's not a lot of energy coming back out of that. And then 36, have it land. And there we go. We've done a simple squash stretch animation. Not too shabby. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go ahead and render that. Go up to render. Render animation, and you'll see it render the whole thing. Good job. We've got our basic animation. Now we may have some holes here. Nope, I think so. I think we're okay. So we did a little bit of animating on the 2s. We used sculpting. We used a lot of different tools this time, and we've now got a rendered project. And it's in my output, and we can see the animation. There we go. And that's a simple squash stretch using grease pencil. Now we're going to get into a lot more complex projects as we go along. That we're just scratching the surface. I'm going fairly slow at this point because I know a lot of people are still learning how to use Blender, the grease pencil tool, and there's a lot of complexity here. There's a lot of different buttons going on here for our animation, but we're going to get into some really cool stuff. I do want to show you one more thing before we go. Notice that this, as I said, this is my canvas. I can scroll in or scroll out on it. If I hold down on the right mouse button, you can see that my sphere, my circles, my animation here is occurring in 3D space, and we're going to take advantage of that as we move forward on our projects. But for right now, and to get back to your normal camera, you can click on the camera view or press the 0 key on your numpad, and there we are. We're going to get into some really cool stuff, but that is going to allow us to do some parallaxing, to set up scenes with multiple layers of 2D animation, or integrate 3D objects into our 2D animations. We'll get into that as we progress with the project. Good job. See you next time.